me with the floor show or kicking with your torso. Boys getting high and the girls even more so. Wave your hands if you're not with a man. Can I kick it? So I just watched the new movie biopic about Robbie Williams called Better Man. This had a limited release in 2024, but got a more mainstream, I guess, US release here this past weekend. And I've actually seen a lot of the reviews were positive. I was curious going into it, to be honest. Well, I wasn't exactly familiar with Robbie Williams. As an American, his stardom didn't fully register with me, since his music is much more popular across the pond in the UK. But after watching this movie and doing a little digging and researching about Robbie Williams, I have to say, what a ride. The movie itself is kind of generic. It hits all the usual beats of a musician's rise to fame, fall from grace, and redemption arc. It's nothing groundbreaking in the story structure that portrays the music industry. But here's where things got a little crazy. Robbie Williams is played by a CGI monkey. Yep, a monkey. Like Planet of the Apes type of shit. Like Robbie Williams was trying to channel his inner Andy Serkis, being like Caesar. But in the movie, nobody brings up that he is a monkey. I guess because of all this, Robbie Williams always felt that he was a little less evolved from everybody else, getting to fame at such a young age, and maybe lacked that maturity that he thinks a normal person would have, not being in his situation. I'll admit the decision is so bizarre, it kept me engaged and pretty much bought my movie ticket. Even when the narrative was predictable, the monkey somehow represents Robbie's inner turmoil and persona. While it's an interesting creative choice, I can't decide if it's a genius move or just a weird publicity stunt. About Robbie Williams himself, this guy's career is unbelievable because I never heard of him. He rose to fame as a member of the boy band Take That, another thing I knew nothing about, which was one of the biggest groups of the 90s in the UK. Think Backstreet Boys, but British. The music is kind of like what us Americans think of having beans on toast for lunch would be like. Robbie eventually left the group and launched a solo career that took him to insane heights. They showed a concert where he performed the song Let Me Entertain You, which is it's kind of a banger. And I couldn't believe the amount of people they put in this, very CGI looking concert. But then I went and looked up the actual concert, and yeah, there was that many people there to see this guy. And once again, I just couldn't believe that I never heard of this guy. He's performed at Wembley Stadium, which for context is one of the most iconic and massive venues in the world. I'm a big wrestling fan. I know it's a big deal to book something in Wembley Stadium, and it's not easy to sell a lot of tickets there. Even when Taylor Swift performed at Wembley Stadium for, I believe, her Reputation tour, he showed up as a cameo and they performed his hit song Angels together. That is an insane cultural crossover for pop music. What really surprised me, and the movie touched on this a little bit, his feud with Liam Gallagher from Oasis, which is a band I'm not only very familiar with, but I'm a huge fan of. Apparently, there was some serious bad blood between them back in the day. Liam called him all sort of things in interviews, and Robbie famously challenged him to a boxing match at the Brit Awards, which they kind of touched on. I wish the movie talked about this more, but maybe Robbie was a big part in the making of this movie, so maybe he didn't want to re-burn bridges by talking about the Liam Gallagher stuff more, because Liam Gallagher ends up getting with Robbie's ex-wife, and they have a kid together, which if you've seen the movie, you know the personal issues that went on with Robbie and his wife at the time. It's wild to think about the level of drama that surrounded Robbie during his peak years. He's kind of a mix of the British version of both Justin Timberlake and Justin Bieber, where he had this very famous relationship, much like Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears over here in the States. And then he had the wild bad boy persona that Justin Bieber had in the early 2010s, once again over here in the States. In terms of the film itself, though, Better Man doesn't quite capture the chaos and larger-than-life personality that Robbie seems to embody. Sure, it shows the highs and lows of fame, but it doesn't dig deep enough into those controversies or his complicated relationship with the media and his own demons. If anything, it feels like a sanitized version of his story, with the CGI monkey as the most daring choice. They almost used the CGI monkey to make that what you're thinking about more than the actual events that happened around this, which is why you could argue the monkey is just way too distracting and you're better off telling Robbie's story. But do you get a dumb American like me to go to the theater and see something like this without the monkey? I don't know, because it was so bizarre, I just needed to see it on screen. I think for fans of Robbie Williams, this movie might be a fun, nostalgic trip. For everyone else, it's an interesting introduction to a pop star you might not know much about. And hey, if nothing else, you'll walk away with some wild trivia, like the fact that Robbie was part of one of UK's biggest boy bands, feuded with one of rock's most famous frontmen, and pulled off one of the strangest biopic concepts ever. Would I recommend Better Man? If you're curious about Robbie Williams, or want to see a movie with a CGI monkey in the lead role that isn't Planet of the Apes, give it a shot. Otherwise, you might be better off watching some old Take That videos or reading about his life online. It's arguably more entertaining. I personally found it entertaining when I did research after and finding all this other stuff about him. Thank you guys for watching this video. I don't know if I'll do stuff like this. I wanted to give my quick thoughts on one of the most unique movies I've seen in a while. If you want more stuff like this, let me know. Make sure to subscribe for Face the Ace. We got a lot of cool content coming up. And here's a little teaser for all you Star Wars fans that are subscribed to this. I'm going to do another character clash video between Darth Sidious and Count Dooku. Shout out to the fan right here who recommended this video. I am working on it as we speak, and make sure to look out for that. But overall, hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next video.